Hi, I'm Vicki Wessling here with City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that's brought to you by Mayor Wilfred Rosas. City Speaks is brought to you on Dunkirk Access 1301. We're a public education and government channel that allows information to be distributed to you, the residents for the city of Dunkirk, via this television modem. We are here today to speak with our new Dunkirk Central School Superintendent, Michael Mansfield. And so we're going to get right into it. So Mr. Mansfield, is it Dr. Mansfield or Mr. Mansfield?
Mr. Mansfield.
Mr. Mansfield, we're so glad to have you. We're so involved with what's going on with our school system. And we have all of our students now who are going through the virtual learning.
Yes.
But welcome, and tell me a little bit about you, about what brought you to Dunkirk.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say how pleased I am to be here. It's been a little over a week, very busy week. But I was born and raised in Chautauqua County on a dairy farm in Cherry Creek, a proud Pine Valley Central School graduate. Went off to college at Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania, earned a Bachelor of Science degree. And I bring that up because it sent me off into a 10-year career in the private sector of doing computer programming and analysis in some very interesting environments, in nuclear fuels, hot strip mill steel plants. I was doing robotics with IBM, and I had the opportunity to do some X-ray film processing for DuPont in the dark. We had to make things work in the dark. So I had some really interesting experiences.
Wow, I guess.
In that 10 years. And then I ended up at Cummins Engine in Jamestown, which we all know is a very vital part of Chautauqua County
Yes.
and our economy, and a great, very progressive company. So we were doing some really interesting work there. It's a great company, but I really felt the drive to get back to education. So I switched careers from a promising career to education, and I ended up back at my alma mater at Pine Valley as a school counselor and an athletic coach. Did a lot of coaching and had a wonderful 10 years there. The next step was administration. So I got my degree and went on to Jamestown Public Schools and did 2 years as an assistant principal in the high school. Great experience, had some great mentors. Went to one of their elementaries opened up with a principalship, so I went there for 2 years. Toughest job I ever had.
Yes, I can imagine.
But also probably the best thing I ever did for my career in terms of getting elementary experience in a very tough situation. So I did that. Bemis Point opened up with an opening for their elementary principal. I went over there, and after a couple of years, using all that I'd learned in Jamestown, we had some really good progress. So I was offered the superintendency to do that. So I stepped into that. Did that for 7 years. We accomplished some things I'm very proud of at Bemis Point and in that district in terms of our facilities and our curriculum and our offerings for students, because that's what it's all about, opportunities for students. The Dunkirk position came open. I have a lot of familiarity with Dunkirk from growing up in athletics and so on with the city. I know a lot about what's important to Dunkirk. It intrigued me when I met with the board and started hearing what they wanted and what they needed here. I thought this is a very good fit and a very good time to do that. And that has proven to be the case as I was appointed and as I've continued to work. Mrs. Root, that was the interim, was very open and helpful over the last couple months of kind of letting me get involved and see what was happening in the district and identifying some of the key areas that we need to be looking at and getting it ready for me. And so here I am.
Yeah. Well, Sylvia and I think she was terrific as an interim. She really was, and I really enjoyed her and her energy and her enthusiasm for Dunkirk. So, we're glad to have you. But you've come in at a time that's really unheard of. I mean, we are facing this COVID-19 pandemic that has just got us all locked in. And of course, we're doing our social distancing.
Yes.
We're here with our 6 feet. So there's a lot going on, and economically, you're being impacted because I understand that the school budgets, I think, is 20% that the government is projecting.
Yes.
Governor is projecting slashing. That's got to just really cause you to stand up and take notice. What are you going to do? How are you going to overcome that? Do you have any ideas yet?
Yes, we've been working on that. I would start by saying, first of all, how impressed I've been with the district, all the staff and the families, and how they've tried to adapt to this. The reaching out to students and trying to connect with them. We have people delivering meals, we have people delivering instruction, we have families asking questions and trying to get their students involved. And we have a very high percentage of contact with students, which I was very impressed with as I transitioned in, and Mrs. Root let me in on some meetings, which,
Right.
One of the positives is with the video conferencing and things that we're learning, I could sit in on meetings from not having to be here, so I could do it after my own job at Bemis Point.
Right.
So I have been very impressed with all of that. Yeah. So we continue to work on that, and we have to update our plans this week. The governor has told, the state ed has said we have to update our plans on how we're going to continue this education,
Right.
and we're waiting for the governor to say how far are we going to go with this, and so
sure.
on. He's promised to do that this week. But getting to the budget part, the New York pause has been kind of beneficial for me personally and for the district because they pushed the budget votes back. So now I've had time to kind of sit with our business official and with our Board of Education and start looking at what is the worst case scenario and how are we going to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So we have some ideas. Very fortunate that this district has put aside some savings over the years that we'll probably have to use to get through this year. Mm-hmm. But then we have to start working on going forward because this is going to be several years.
Right, it isn't going to
happen in a year that we're going to be out of it.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at how we're going to provide instruction in this new environment. It's probably going to look different coming back, whether it's a fall or whatever, and how are we going to be fiscally sustainable in this new environment going forward.
And then there are things that are happening, certainly the sports programs. I mean, the kids are out there wanting to play ball.
Yep.
And now we can't play ball.
Yeah. Yes.
So I mean, and do you think that that's going to move into the summer, that the ball games will begin again, or do you think this is just going to be it?
Yeah. I think it's important to note, first of all, I think that I've said the phrase, I don't know, more in the last 2 months than I've ever said it in my life. But you can you start trying to project a little bit as things go on. It's sad that our students, especially our seniors, have missed on their last spring sports season. Our Dunkirk girls basketball team did not get to go to states. They were there.
Right.
They were one or two steps away from that, and they had worked so hard at it. So yeah, you feel for all of that, but you really can't do anything except go forward. Looking at the spring sports, we've already been told the state championships are canceled, the sectional championships are canceled. Leagues can, if we go back to school, they can try to run a varsity season in the area.
If we go back to school.
If we go back to school. If we're not back by June 1, everything is off in terms of sports. I could foresee, creative people that we are, that maybe not even the school leagues, but maybe those summer leagues for softball and baseball and things, that they come up with ways to hold these things with limitations. Everybody's wearing a mask, one parent at the game, those kind of things.
Right.
You start to envision they could happen.
Well, our world is definitely going to change.
Yes.
That's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the enrollment, because enrollment, this is the time of the year when people would be enrolling for their pre-K and their kindergarten and those sorts of things. Is that going to be moved forward for a while? I mean, what do you think? Are we going to be doing that? Of course, there's virtual learning. Everything is going on virtually, which is wonderful.
Right. So we need to figure out if we can't bring people in, how are we going to do? It's not going to be traditional enrollment, with the pre-K and so on. So we're working on avenues to make sure we try to reach people to know how to do that. So we're working on that and the anticipation that we won't be able to do it normally, or at least it's going to have to be pushed back somehow. So we'll work through that to try to contact people in terms of our enrollment. Our overall enrollment over time is pretty steady here in Dunkirk.
Right.
When we look at what we want to do for the school and the community overall, we want people to feel like they want to come and live in Dunkirk and raise their family here.
Right.
The school district is a critical part of that.
Sure.
in terms of preparing our students, and then the word of mouth that parents and students have if they've had a great experience. So that's part of what we need to do as a district, is to make sure that that's happening, because we have opportunities here for people to come put a business in place and raise families here. So
Right, Dunkirk is really up and coming, in spite of everybody being shut in right now. Really, things really are happening. Do you have any challenge? Where do you see your vision for Dunkirk? Do you have any particular idea of where you think you might want to go? Any challenges that you might have to face to overcome those, other than this COVID-19?
Yes. Well, I go back to what we want to accomplish as a school district and a community is to say for people to want to look at Dunkirk, to come and raise their family, to bring a business here. We have a Phoenix that is coming.
Yes.
So we want, that's how we build.
And of course your background and with all of the your science and all of the stuff that you've done would really help to prepare some of our students to work there, which would be great.
Right. So that's the partnerships that develop, is that you have how are we developing our students to have the skills that those businesses need. A lot of it is character and what we call the soft skills of initiative and responsibility and things like that, and then they can be successful wherever they end up. And then also to make it engaging for the students, that they find something they're interested in, and that we can provide them avenues to pursue that and develop those skills. So the vision is that people will look at Dunkirk and say, well, you got a great school district there, and we'd like to raise our family there, so we have to make it a great experience, because that word of mouth.
Sure, we want people to come and live, work, and play, and go to school in Dunkirk. That's obviously what we're definitely looking for that. So we want that to happen. You've had some great experience. It sounds really exciting, and it's just a hand in glove for the virtual learning that the children and the students and the teachers are dealing with right now.
Right.
Do you see that as becoming a component for the future, as well as the in-class instruction, but do you see this virtual learning kind of taking off now?
Absolutely. I think it was part of what was part of education was going that way, but now with this, with adversity comes opportunity, and you have to learn it now, because you have to use it now. And our staff, we're already talking about, all right, what kind of professional development do we need for our teachers to get really fluent with this? What kind of technology do we provide our students? One of the issues that we face in most any rural area is the internet access. So talking with our technology people, how do we bridge that gap to make it equal for everybody, that they all have access to this remote learning? So yes, I think that is a big part of what we're already talking about in district, as a district, is how do we leverage the technology that we're learning now so that we integrate it into our system. So if this kind of thing happens again, which they say is likely, then we're ready. We make the switch, we go for a period of time, but it's also part of life. It's part of our culture.
And now you have, obviously, with the different schools, the elementary school, the middle school, and I'm sure you've become acquainted now with all the different principals and some of the teachers. What kinds of things do you see? How is the morale of the staff, of the teachers? Are they looking forward to next year? Are they energized?
As I said, I'm just very impressed with the vigor at which they've addressed this issue. Because we all of a sudden, this was on us, and you have to do it. And so there is an enthusiasm, and there is not. I have not sensed a beaten down or a discouraged attitude. It's more of a what's next, keep pressing, keep doing the best, and it's really about getting in contact and getting the students involved and the families involved, so they participate in this. So when we do come back at some point, we haven't lost a lot of ground.
Right. What other kinds of things are you looking at as far as curriculum changes, or have you thought about doing anything in the way of curriculum changes, adding any programs? Because I know one of the issues that Mrs. Root had faced, and even Dr. Tracy before her, was the attendance issue. They want, how do we get students to attend? We want them to still be present, and that has been an ongoing issue. Do you see that as a challenge, or do you have any kind of ideas of how to overcome that?
Yeah, I think we want to continue that work. There was some promising work that Mrs. Root started with the staff in terms of improving attendance, and they had seen some very nice results. So we want to continue that work, but part of it is becoming, making sure that the students are engaged and the families are engaged, because then they want to come. So we'll continue that work. I think looking at the district as a whole, just the big picture, we really want to work on alignment. We want to work on our alignment of our curriculum as they move up through the grade levels from kindergarten and when they commencement, in terms of English language arts and math and literacy and science, and making sure that we have a cohesive program that addresses the needs of all our students. Just really pulling everybody together. So, and the other piece of that is the social emotional part that I touched on, with soft skills and character and building those skills, so we hit the whole child as they go through our program. So that's really the focus now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like that you've got things under control. So it sounds, at least at the moment. So we'll see what else comes along your way.
We'll see what's like tomorrow.
But you know, and I really appreciate having you here. And I think that our residents, our students, our teachers, just to get a put a face with the name to find out what's going on, and certainly to hear from you personally. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank all of you for watching City Speaks. You can watch City Speaks daily on Spectrum 1301 in Dunkirk at 3 o'clock and 10 o'clock. You can catch it by going to dunkirkaccess.com. Watch it at your leisure. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. If you have someone you want to have on, send an email to cityspeaks@cityofdunkirk.com. Snail mail City Speaks in care of Dunkirk Access, City Hall, 342 Central Avenue, Dunkirk, 14048. Again, I'm Vicki Wessling. I'm pleased to be able to volunteer my time to bring City Speaks back to the residents. City Speaks is a show that's brought to you, the residents, by Mayor Wilfred Rosas, to keep you informed. And again, I'd like to do an invitation for any of our council members or other elected officials who might want to come on and let people know what's going on. Please let us know. So thank you, and thank you for watching City Speaks.